Hello, everybody. This is Sunday. It's October 17th, and we are heading into week 8 of our online astronomy course. And that is really amazing because, there are 14 modules in the course, and we've already done 7 of them, and we're headed into module 8 this week. So that means we're halfway through the course. And wow, time is really going fast. Well, this week, we're going to be learning about the Jovian planets, the gas giant planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. We're going to learn about how different they are than the 4 inner planets, the 4 terrestrial planets. These gas giants are, well, they're gas giants. They're huge. They are not very dense because they have such huge quantities of gas. They are far from the sun, so they are cold, and they're quite different from the terrestrial planets. Another way you can tell they're different is just the number of moons they have. I mean, Mercury doesn't have a moon, Venus doesn't have a moon, Earth is just our single moon, and Mars has 2 moons. But you get out to Jupiter, and Jupiter has something like, 79 moons or something like that. Saturn has a few more, 82. And then Uranus and Neptune have several in the 10s and 20s. And so all of a sudden you go from almost no moons from the inner planets to a lot of moons in the outer planets. And that tells you that there is something different about the way those planets formed. And so that's one of the things you're going to be learning about. You'll also be learning about those moons. Jupiter has 4 famous moons, the Galilean satellites, they're called, that were discovered by Galileo. Saturn has a moon that we have actually landed on, and you'll learn all about the fascinating moons around the Jovian planets. Also in this module, we'll be looking at the other things that are in our solar system. We'll be learning about asteroids. Most of the asteroids reside in an asteroid belt that is between Mars and Jupiter. And you'll learn about asteroids, you'll learn about comets. And comets come from, a lot of them come from the Oort cloud, which is a huge reservoir of hundreds of thousands of comets that extend, far out from the sun. And sometimes their orbits bring them very close to the sun, and then we can see them in our sky. You'll also be learning about meteors. And meteors are the flashes of light you see in the sky. And that happens when a little chunk of rock in outer space, that's called a meteoroid. When that meteoroid comes in through Earth's atmosphere, it heats up. And if it strikes Earth, it's called a meteorite. And actually, this week, there's some interesting news about meteors and about asteroids. And I thought I would share that with you. So let's take a look at something. And it just so happens that yesterday, the Lucy mission to some asteroids called Trojan asteroids was launched. Lucy, it was named after one of the earliest fossil remnants we have of the hominid species. And Lucy is going out to these Trojan asteroids, which are believed to be fossil remnants of when the Jovian planets formed. And so, as I said, that lifted off just yesterday. And here's what it looked like. You can see there the rocket catching fire, lifting off, and going way out to the asteroid belt. It's a long journey it's going to have to take. But that just happened yesterday morning. Also, earlier this week, there was a news article that appeared, and this was about a woman in Canada who was sleeping in her bed, an elderly woman, And all of a sudden there was this huge crash, and she woke up and she found a hole in her roof, and there was debris scattered all around her room. And what had happened is that a meteor had come crashing through her ceiling and landed on her bed. This 3-pound rock came through, and she woke up to find this 3-pound rock next to her head. And so she was very lucky not to have been hit by it. But just think of the odds. Here is this, this meteoroid tumbling through space for billions of years. It's been, it maybe collides with something else, or is gravitationally has its course altered by something else. And here it comes down through Earth's atmosphere, through this woman's house, and just barely misses her. Well, you have to wonder if somebody's aiming at you or something like that. But I've posted a link to this in one of the videos, and not to the New York Times article, that's behind a paywall, but there's a link to a story about this meteor coming in. There's also some other videos that we're going to be seeing. In 2013, there was a very large meteor, a bolide, a fireball that came down through the skies of Russia. It was over the city of Chelyabinsk. That's Russia's 7th largest city. So, over 1 million people saw this. And it never reached the ground. It exploded in midair. But oh my gosh, it just wreaked havoc. And there's a couple videos about that. It's just a fascinating thing. Something like that happens once per century. And it last happened also in Russia, back in a place called Tunguska. And there's also a video about the Tunguska explosion and all of the damage that it did. In fact, that explosion was so violent that sound waves went around Earth twice from that explosion. So I hope you enjoy learning about all the things that are in our solar system, the Jovian planets. You'll learn about comets, asteroids, and meteors, and it's just really, really amazing. So I want to show you a little bit about what's in the sky tonight. So let me pull that up here, and I'll do that. Here we go, Stellarium's view of the sky. I don't know if you've been outside these past couple nights, but it's been beautiful with the moon out there, clear, dark skies. And what you can see here is really representative of the solar system. You can see various planets. This is out, this just happens to be out tonight, but it will be very similar other nights. But I would go out earlier in the week, because later in the week, here's how it will be tomorrow night. And you can see the moon has moved off there a little bit more to the east. But go out. This is around 10 o'clock. So I'm sorry, this is around 8 o'clock, excuse me, 8 in the evening. So Venus is still in the sky. It's about to set in the western sky over here. You can see Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, and you might notice how they are pretty much in a line. And that makes sense, because we know that the planets circle the sun all in the same plane, going around like, they're going around in more or less circular orbits, really elliptical, but they're fairly circular. And we are in the plane of those orbits, so we see them in a straight line. And so if you just hold out your arm, and you hold out your arm so it covers up Venus and Saturn and Jupiter, you'll be holding out your arm in the plane of the ecliptic. That's what we call the plane of the planets as they go around the sun, the plane of the ecliptic. And so you'll actually have your arm in the plane of the ecliptic if you cover up Venus and Jupiter and Saturn. And you might notice that the moon is a little bit below that plane. And that's right, the plane of the moon's orbit around Earth is tilted by about 5 degrees relative to the plane of the planet's orbits around the sun. So take a look at that. It's really cool. You get to see that. And as always, let me know if you have any questions about anything. Oh, I didn't mention what's behind me. Saturn is behind me. Check out this picture of Saturn, and I'm going to move over to the side just a little bit so you can see that this is really a picture taken by a spacecraft as it passes by Saturn. And so we see Saturn half lit, that's the side facing the sun, of course, and half in darkness. And you can also see how very thin the rings are. If you just take a look at the rings here, you can actually see Saturn through the rings. And that tells you how very thin the rings of Saturn are. And on the other side, oh, check it out. You can see Saturn's shadow on the rings. So this is a view we'll never get from Earth because we're inside Saturn's orbit. We only see the fully lit side of Saturn. And it's really amazing to get this view from a passing spacecraft. So I hope you enjoy reading about the Jovian planets and all the things that are in our solar system. And as always, if you have any questions, you can ask me in the discussions. You can send me an email, set up a Zoom meeting, talk about things. And I've already had Zoom meetings with students this semester and really enjoyed them. So I'm always happy to talk to you. So have a good week. And I hope you have a interesting time learning about this. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. So till then, bye-bye.